unauthorized, license, copyright violation, and commonly pirated software such as Adobe Photoshop and Microsoft Office come to mind when software piracy is mentioned. In this video, we will be discussing the definition, types, effects, and ethics of software piracy, excluding digital piracy, which covers piracy in movies, TV shows, and games. Software piracy, according to the U.S. Department of Energy, is the unauthorized use and/or distribution of copyrighted computer software in violation of the copyright laws or applicable license restrictions, meaning when a person uses, copies, or sells a copyrighted software against its license and without permission, he is pirating the software.
In general, we can characterize the different kinds of piracy into 5 main types. First is soft lifting, which is also known as end-user piracy or soft loading. It is called end-user piracy because it can be characterized by the actions of the user upon gaining access to a program, specifically the act of a user reproducing copies of the software program without proper authorization. This includes using a single-use license for installation on multiple different devices or repurposing an academic license for commercial use. Next is client-server overuse. Like soft loading, this occurs when multiple users make use of a single authorized copy. However, instead of being accessed or used on different or individual computers, client-server overuse is characterized by the use of a program over a single or local area network. Another type which we may be more familiar with is online piracy, also called internet piracy. This is when programs are downloaded from the internet without using a license, usually using illegal websites that distribute the software for free. In exchange for the free software, however, your devices may be exposed to pop-ups or cyber threat. We also have counterfeiting, which is the duplication of software without authorization and its distribution or sale to unsuspecting users. It is basically using materials from a product in order to create one that resembles or imitates the original one, making them appear authentic and then selling or distributing it. And lastly, we have hard disk loading. Like counterfeiting, it involves the sale of an authorized copy of the software. But unlike it is not necessarily a copy of the original software. Instead, it is the duplication of the material that is downloaded directly onto the hard disk of machines before they are sold illegally.
In his TEDx talk, Prabir Sarkar, CEO of the cybersecurity company Dhaka Distributions, shares that people usually pirate software because of affordability, non-availability, fun, sense of adventure, lack of ethical sense, or simple ignorance. Some people share software as if it is acceptable to use pirated software. The advantages of paid software compel people who cannot afford its cost to pirate. First, paid software applications usually have better UI and more features than the free counterpart. A pirated copy approximates these features. Second, many jobs require expertise on some software like Excel, Word, or Photoshop. Learning these applications is aided by the accessibility to tutorials and documentations that even with pirated software, one can acquire such expertise. Lastly, a few well-known professionals also use the often pirated applications, somehow normalizing the use of pirated softwares in the industry.
In general, pirating software results to the following: increased chances that the software will malfunction or fail, forfeited access to support for the program, no warranty and inability to update the software, slow PC, and legal repercussions due to copyright infringement. An example is genuine versus pirated Microsoft products. Compared to counterfeit users, genuine users experience superior performance and productivity in their machines. Their devices have longer battery life. They make less sacrifices or cost, and they experience faster booting. Microsoft constantly releases new features and security updates to keep genuine Office apps running smoothly. Pirated Office packs have plenty of faults and there's no chance of fixing them. You may not use other features of pirated versions of Microsoft apps. There are some pirated versions where you can access almost all features, but nothing can be genuine Microsoft products. Technical support does not apply to pirated Office products. We are then limited to online tutorials and sometimes online forums. Microsoft can actually detect if we're using a pirated Office copy. One IP address is assigned for a single installation, though it can also occur if the same pirated copy is used for multiple installations.
Aside from a decrease in computing performance, the bigger concern when people desire to use pirated software are their accompanying cybersecurity threats. According to a study by Gans et al. In 2015, the rate of malware encounter increases as the rate of unlicensed software use increases. Across 81 countries, the two variables showed strong correlation. Currently at its daily highest, 8 new malware threats occur per second. Handling a malware attack is not so easy. Detection usually takes an average of 243 days, and resolution may last up to 50 days. On average, an organization can lose $2.4 million in a malware attack due to costs related to losses in productivity and business opportunities, labor cost of mitigation, and worst is data loss. The high rate of malware encounters associated with the use of unlicensed software makes software piracy a global concern. Based on the latest study conducted by the BSA Software Alliance, the worldwide commercial value of unlicensed software installed in personal computers is estimated to be $46 million. This amount is accounted for by roughly 37% of computers in the world having pirated software. Among all regions, the Asia-Pacific and Central and Eastern Europe has the highest rate of software piracy, averaging 57% of computers installed with unlicensed software. Within Asia-Pacific, Bangladesh comes first, followed by Indonesia and Pakistan at second, and Sri Lanka at third. Philippines has an estimated 64% software piracy rate and ranks 6th in the Asia-Pacific region. Given these figures, the next question is what the Philippines is doing to deal with software piracy.
Software piracy is considered a crime, and thus, there have been legislative efforts to combat it. In the Philippines, software piracy violates the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, or RA 8293, as well as the Optical Media Act, or RA 9239. If found guilty, offenders can face up to 9 years of imprisonment and/or a fine of up to 1.5 million pesos. While these laws exist, there are provisions that limit their enforcement by local anti-piracy institutions. For one, RA 8293 led to the creation of the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, or IPO-PHL, which handles intellectual property matters in the country. The agency, however, is unable to conduct checks on the use of illegal softwares on their own and must collaborate with other government bodies to perform such operations. On the other hand, RA 9239 allows the Optical Media Board, or OMB, to conduct checks of their own, but their coverage is only limited to pirated products that are in physical form. This is because the law was created during the time when disks were the dominant storage device used. In response to this, the Philippine Anti-Piracy Team, or PAPT, was formed by the IPO-PHL and OMB in collaboration with the Philippine National Police and the National Bureau of Investigation. The PAPT seeks to counteract the negative effects of software piracy in the country and conducts raids on establishments that use illegal software. However, it can be said that these efforts are not enough as software piracy continues to be rampant in the country. Most of the responsibility then falls onto the end users to keep themselves in check and avoid committing piracy.
The discourse about the ethics of software piracy is a fight between the opposing views of the software pirates and the copyright protectors. Although software piracy is generally viewed as stealing, it is not devoid of gray areas. There is the argument of the noble cause, for one. For example, some researchers encountered the problem of having to use expensive software which they cannot afford. It is argued that the overall benefit of the research far outweighs the cost of using pirated software. So, in such cases, using a pirated software is acceptable. And then there is the argument of willing but unable. Not all software or software versions are available in all countries. A simple example would be the unavailability of Microsoft Defender in some regions where Microsoft 365 or personal subscriptions are available. So even if you are willing to pay for the software, you will not be able to buy it. Pirates say that this justifies software piracy, that it is not wrong to pirate software if it is not being sold in your area, but you need it. Some justifications of software piracy are easily contested, though. Software pirates believe that they have the right to the information contained in the software, making it ethical to copy software. They also argue that if the pirated software is not used for commercial purposes, it is protected by the fair use clause of the copyright law. Contrarily, the copyright law gives creators control over the use of their software, and piracy deprives creators of their rightful wages. Despite infringing on the rights of creators, software pirates insist that piracy does not hurt anyone. Since they do not intend to buy the software in the first place, there are no lost sales. However, industry data shows that companies lose money, time, and data to software piracy, and people lose jobs. Undaunted, pirates say that they are just testing the software, and if they like it, they will pay for it. Otherwise, it just sits in their computers unused. No damage is done. In reality, when sales go down, software manufacturers increase prices, and eventually, legitimate software users have to spend more. The existence of bugs in software becomes an excuse for piracy. If a software has bugs, then it is not worth the pirate's money. The pirate claims that it is not a crime to use or share a defective product. Seeing something as not worth our money does not mean that it is legal to get it without permission, nor does it make it ethical.
손에 술잔 다른 손에 든 칠수